Yeah, hi everybody. Let's talk just a little bit about blues music. You know, James played a wide variety of blues, which often crossed over into other styles of music, similar to that of Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and some of B.B. King's work, but distinguished by his guitar's vastly more powerful modern sound, arguably only equaled in technical ability by Baby, although in different style, unbelievably coming from a modified, hollow body traditional acoustic guitar, which sounded like the more modern solid body guitars. His voice and style was as instantly recognizable as Baby's, Muddy's, and Wolves, and until he fell full of the Chicago Union. He and his broom dusters were as popular in the Chicago clubs as any of these musicians' bands, although Elmore could be reportedly drinking on the job, not paying out cash, abandoning musicians, double booking, etc. Their conspiracy of silence of this remarkable musician, writer and singer does them no credit. There are no known photos of Elmer performing apart from those taken some at the following occasions. Some show a packet club with stylishly dressed couples dancing closely by George Adams, and no other detailed descriptions or any live recordings either. You know, Muddy Waters took the Belgian blues from George Adams to see Elmore play in Chicago in 1959. Adams recalled, Elmore was always remained the most exciting, dramatic blues singer and guitarist that I've ever had a chance to see perform in the flesh. On our way, we listened to him on the radio as Big Bill Hill was broadcasting direct from that place. I was burning the Elmore James, and before we even pushed open the door of the club, we could hear Elmore's violent guitar sound. Although the place was overcrowded, we managed to find a seat close to the bandstand, and the blues came falling down on me as it had never done before. Watching Elmore sing and play, dramatic look. Watching Elmore sing and play, backed by a solid blues band, homesick James G.T. Brown, Boyd Atkins, and Sam Castle, made me feel real fine. Wearing thick glasses, Elmore's face always had an expressive and dramatic look, especially when he was real gone on the slow blues. Singing with a strong and roof voice, he really didn't need a mic. On such slow blues as I'm Worried, make my dreams come true, yeah, it hurts me. You know, his voice reached the climax and created a tension that was unmistakably the down and out blues. Notwithstanding that raw voice, Elmore sang his blues with a particular feeling, an emotion and depth that showed his country background. His singing was, reinforced by his own guitar accompaniment, which was a roof, violent and expressive, as was his voice. Using the bottleneck technique most of the time, Elmore really let his guitar sound as I had never heard a guitar sound before. You just couldn't sit still, you had to move. You know, George also witnessed Elmore at Alex Club in West Side Chicago where, he said, he always played for a dance audience and he made the people jump. Bobby's Rock was at that time one of the favorite numbers with the crowd and Elmore used to play it for 15 minutes and more. You just couldn't stand that historic sound coming down on you. The place was rocking, swinging, The nearest we have to a recording of a live set by Elmore in his last recorded session by Bobby Robinson of Fire Records and Enjoy Records, etc., in New York City in 1963, shortly before his death, aged only 45. This session features several takes of Hand in Hand, which is abandoned, and Ilmu then plays a live set. His best known song is probably the blues standard Dust My Broom, also known as Dust My Blues. The song gave its name to James's band, the Broom Dusters. The song's opening slide guitar riff is one of the best known sounds in all of blues. It's essentially the same riff that appears in the recording of the same song by Robert Johnson, but James played the riff with electric slide guitar. It was even transformed into a doo-wop chorus on Jet Stone's Down in the Alley, for example, recorded by the Clovers and Elvis Presley. Stone transcribed the riff as, change. Listen to this 8-second sample of the riff from That's My Broom, featured in this very different song. Elmore, like most other performers who have a hit tune, was pressured into using this as a hit formula in many of his subsequent songs, although his later big sellers bore no semblance to this. We try to listen, just a riff of That's My Broom. I hope it will work. And we can also say about influence, most electric slide guitar players will admit to the massive, if not total influence of James Steele. He was also a major influence on successful blues guitarist as Homesick James, who was a member of Elmore's band, the Broom Dusters, and featured on many of his recordings. John Little John, Hound Dog Taylor, G.B. Hutto, and many others. He also influenced many rock guitarists such as the Rolling Stones, Brian Jones, and Fleetwood Mac's Jerry Spencer. His songs Done Somebody Wrong and One Way Out were often covered by the Allman Brothers Band, who cited him as a major influence. James was also covered by a blues rock band, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, many times in concert. The most famous of his covers is one that came by an indirect route. James' fellow bluesman Albert King recorded a cover of The Sky's Crying, and Stevie Ray Vaughan copied King's version of the song. That song was also covered by George Thorogood on his second album, Move It On Over, and by Eric Clapton on his album There's One in Every Crowd. The most famous guitarist who admired Elmore James was Jimi Hendrix. Early in his career, Jimmy styled himself variously as Morris James and subsequently as Jimmy James. This, according to former bandmate and recording partner Lonnie Youngblood, was a tribute to Elmore James. There is a photo of Hendrix that can be seen in the sleeve of his blues album in London, wearing his famous military jacket and holding Elmore James's UK LP, The Best of Elmore James. Hendrix was frequently photographed throughout his performing career, holding LP covers of musicians that influenced him. He performed James' Bleeding Heart during the Experiences Roy Albert Hall concert in 1969, and also with the Band of Gypsies at their New Year's concerts at the Fillmore East in 69,